welcome. You're watching Money9, India's first multilingual platform for personal finance from TV9 News Network. I'm Sakshi Batra, and on this show today we are celebrating International Women's Day by speaking to all those women who inspire us in our daily lives. Joining us on this show is a very special person, Dr. Punita Kumar Sinha. She's the Managing Partner, Pacific Paradigm Advisors and Chairperson, INCRED AMC. Thank you very much, Ms. Sinha, for joining in, and here's wishing you a very happy Women's Day.
Thank you, and same to you.
Thank you so much, Punita. Let me begin by saying that I want to thank you personally as well. For a career that has spanned over 30 years in investment and the financial industry, you have really led the way for all of us and more women who will join in future as well by helping us understand that this is not a place only for men. So congratulations for that, and thank you very much for that too. I want to begin by understanding from you, what would you say about the women in the financial industry? Are they adequately represented right now? Are they under adequately represented? And for those women who still are far away from making a career in finance, what is stopping them and what should they be doing now?
So a very good question. So when I started 30 plus years ago, I think women were very, very underrepresented. I was probably the only woman fund manager covering India and emerging markets at that time. So there was no other woman fund manager in India. And I'm focusing the discussion on India right now because your audience is from India. Now I'm seeing a few fund managers who are women. A lot of women are on the sell side. There were women on the sell side, which is on the research side, on the investment banking, but of course far fewer than the men then. But on the buy side, there were almost no women, very few women. So things have changed a lot. Things have improved a lot for women. There are many more women on the buy side now, but very few in leadership positions. And I think we still have a long way to go. I think the buy side is actually a very good career for women because it does provide a very objective way of measuring performance, which is something that I think women do well in. Talking about the financial industry as a whole, I think I would say there are still more women coming into it. There is a pipeline of younger women coming into it. More and more women are, a lot of women have always studied economics. A lot of women have always studied commerce. So there is no reason why they can't enter the financial industry. I don't think they should be intimidated. It is quite numbers intensive. It is hard work. It's a lot of long hours. But I don't think it's something that they should be intimidated by.
Absolutely. And do you also believe that perhaps women are better at managing finance and they do have this intuitive strength? I know that, I have one, but if you also agree with that as well and help us understand, should that be something that should encourage women to build this career in finance and to at least start managing your whole money, your family's money, and your own entrepreneur real businesses that you've started to do? So all of that at least to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, women in most families are the home finance head, right? They manage finances at home and do a very good job of balancing the books. In fact, women are more prudent. They take more informed risks. They're cautious because they, by nature, don't gamble as much. And so when you are in the financial industry and you're managing other people's money, I would think that women would bring the same amount of prudence, thoughtfulness, and diligence to their analysis in managing other people's money. I would say that one thing perhaps one could fault the women on, or maybe they don't take enough risk and go and really blow the lights out. But then that's good because the people who blow the lights out in 1 year perhaps don't do so well the next year. So women are more consistent performers in general, and I would think that plays to the strength of giving consistent returns to investors.
Absolutely. And while we have been seeing that more and more women are now career oriented, they're focusing on self growth as well, but still there is something lacking. They're not taking charge of their finances as much. So, how should they really begin? The women of today who've not started, say, perhaps their investment journey, they've not started to understand, how can their money work for themselves or financial planning. How do they do that?
Well, I think it's a traditional, there is a tradition to it, which is always the men handle the finances, and so women who got married just followed that path, and now I think women, more and more women are working, and they're marrying later in life, and so, as you marry later in life and you're responsible for your own financial decisions until that time, by the time you get married and have a family, you're already experienced in being independent financially and emotionally. And that I think will change how women manage their finances and invest going forward. Women are now beginning to live on their own as well. When I was growing up, it was rare to see a woman living by herself and taking an apartment and taking a job in a different city. But now you see women do that. And so all that goes into getting the confidence that investing one's money is no different than doing all the other things that women are doing. They can drive, they're driving, they're doing all the other things that are daily activities. And investing should also be seen as almost like a daily activity.
We talk about women empowerment so much. Do you feel that financial empowerment should actually be at the center of it or should actually begin by it? And when you talk about investments, how would you say that investing in stock markets, in equities, planning about finances can really help empower women?
So, it's an interesting question. When you talk about women empowerment and you talk about financial inclusion, in fact, the whole financial inclusion industry in India and the microfinance industry has actually empowered women the most. When you go and look at where these microfinance companies are lending, I was on the board of Bharat Financial Inclusion before it got merged into IndusInd Bank, and there all our customers were women. And so women were the ones who were actually taking the loans. Women were the ones responsible for paying the loans back, paying the interest on time, and then seeing how that money was going to be invested so that they would get returns from it that exceed the cost of borrowing. And there were self-help groups that were established, or all of women, and we've seen that phenomena in the rural areas, that women are getting more empowered. Women are actually being the ones who are getting the loans. The government schemes are also helping women become the primary borrower. So I think all those are steps in getting women to be more financially literate, to be the ones who are going to be learning to manage the finances for the family.
So basically, this year's theme for the International Women's Day is hashtag choose to challenge. I want to ask you, what should the women of today choose to challenge?
Oh, that's a tough question. The women of today should challenge the stereotype. I think that's very important. And the women of today should challenge all the excessive risk taking that's going on in the world in various segments. So I think these are the two areas that women can do a lot of justice to everybody in the world.
Okay, and now I have to ask you before I let you go on the markets as well, because you will help us really understand how do the women of today who want to really begin their investment journey in equities, how should they begin really after an unprecedented year where we have seen the market surprise everybody, first with the crash, but with the overwhelming rise that we have seen already. We are seeing current volatility as well, but where do you see markets go from here for all those women who have started earning now, millennial women, they want to start their investment journey with equities? What should they do? How should they plan their investments in equities?
Well, you have to get in cautiously because the markets have really run. So the easy money has been made. But if you are in this for the long term, then there is never a bad time to get into markets. So it's best in the initial stages of your investment career to work with professionals who can then manage the money for you or advise you and guide you in the right direction.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Panita, for being with us on this special show. And here's wishing you again a very happy Women's Day. Keep inspiring more and more women, and we hope to see more women join in the financial industry as well as begin their financial independence industry journey as well. Thank you so much. It's been always our pleasure to speak to you in the past, and we hope to catch you soon on Money9 on our other shows as well. Thank you very much for joining in.